Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. Let's take a look at the charts. By the way, on Tuesday, wickedstocks.com put out two stock picks. I remember one of them. Oh, two of them, yes. Edenor, which is actually a South American, Argentinian electricity producer, traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and Intel. Everybody knows Intel. Both stock picks does not mean you should rush out and buy either one. We give you the exact specifics necessary for buying those stocks right on the edge. So I would just urge you to go to wickedstocks.com and take a look at our 2-week free trial, where you could see those two stock picks. You could see your daily NVDA report for 2 weeks in a row, daily SPY, daily Triple Q, weekly Apple stock, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So go to wickedstocks.com and take advantage of that 2-week trial. Tesla. For Wednesday, we came very close. Actually, looks like we tested 335.93. Did not. The low was 37.24, inside the 1% zone. You know, I do forget to tell you that the 1% violation threshold is a downside. You know, closing below 35.93 by a 1% degree is in itself a sign of weakness. It is a bearish continuation. I'll get to that in a moment because I still don't think it is to a great degree. We have a 5/8 Fibonacci at 322.96. But the point I'm struggling to make is the fact that as you approach a 6-month or greater line study, you can begin buying, if you will, if you like, 1% above 335.93. And that would be, 339 and change if I'm doing my math correct. So we did slip into that zone, came off of it modestly on Tuesday. 335.93 completes our objective. That came into play about 7 weeks ago when we settled below this 430.56 channel bottom. And from here, we can round up. Not just round up, we could do a V-shaped rally out of here over the next 3 to 5 weeks. I think it's a bit of a stretch, but I think over the next couple of months, say by the end of June or sooner, this is rising. That's why I give it so much time to do so. But we could see this market spring back in similar fashion to the big sell-off following the December high, back into the 430s and climbing over the next couple of months where we could top out on a monthly basis. But this is a longer-term channel bottom. And as I've been saying for many weeks, this is also what I would call investment-grade support. That is to say, if you are somebody who holds a position, for weeks and months perhaps on end, that this is an area you can buy into, anticipating upward rotation not only into the 430s and climbing, but into the low 500 region. We don't have that chart here right now, but there's a long-term, a 6-year channel top in the 530s. That is not out of the question by the end of the year, holding above 335.93. Let's take a look at the upside. I need to jump into this chart here.
If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and NVIDIA, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Start your 2-week free trial and trade with clarity from day one.
347.53 is a rising 2/3 speed line projected off that April 25 low. We opened just below it, continued south on Tuesday, and we closed just below it. But it is a pivot point for the day. If we push through or perhaps open above 347.53, and you could see the high on Tuesday was 348.02. Opening above 348.02, obviously in combination with 47.53, is a sign of strength right out of the gates. That 356.54, 50% downside retracement from the April low of last year against the more recent December high, in reach today above 347.53. 356.54 can contain daily highs. We could fall away from here within several days back into the mid 330s. That is a possibility, but we did just come off of long-term support, and this market is primed for aggressive gains. I'm not saying that I'm expecting that, but but this is an area for playing the long side of the market. We've met the objective. We can test 356.54 over the next few days, possibly today with a push or open above 47.53. And yes, sorry about that, over the next 2 to 3 weeks, the 390s in reach. We've got 390.12 is that 3/8 Fibonacci that you can see here starting in early February, held a series of lows all the way into March before we collapsed below it mid-March and continued south. 390.12, part of a range now up to 393.06, classic channel top that can absorb buying pressures if tested over the next 2 or 3 weeks, perhaps through the entire month of May, and we could fall away again back into the 330s. We could fill this wedge out between 395.93, 335.93, and the 390s, which is once again this 390.12 to 393.06 area. We could fill this wedge out for the next 3 to 5 weeks before the market tips its hand one way or the other. I'm going to say the likely outcome is a settlement above 393.06 eventually, rather than a settlement below 335.93. And I say likelier by a degree. It's not absolute. But nonetheless, if we close above 393.06, that is your clear indication of 430.56 over the following 2 to 3 weeks. And as we continue through time, this could be within 3 to 5 weeks. 430.56, once again, this channel bottom we settled below 7 weeks ago, still able to contain monthly buying pressures when tested. We could find ourselves in this 335.93 to 430.56 band for the next several months. Closing above 430.56, though, over the next 2 or 3 months shouldn't come as a great surprise. I would then expect the 530s, 540s within another 2 to 3 months. Now for the downside. Actually, let me say one more thing, and that is if we close today above 356.54 after having tested that 335.93 formation on Tuesday, that we should, where is it? I'm looking for the right chart. If we close above 356.54 today, I think we could by the end of next week. That's about the right time for a high volatility rally. By the end of next week, find ourselves in the 390s. So if you bought 335.93 as a 3 to 5 week swing trader, and we came very close to testing it on Tuesday, you can hold out 3 to 5 week swing trader for the 390s. 3 to 5 day for the 356.54 level. And if we close above 56.54, expect more of the same by the end of next week. 393.06, where we could top out, as I say, on a monthly basis. So we could top out here through the rest of April into May and fall back into the mid 330s. Now for the downside, and this is nuanced just a bit. In other words, if you have gone long, or you can go long at 335.93. This has been saying now for weeks. In terms of playing the short side, as we continue through the rest of the second quarter, I think that would come into play with a settlement below 322.96. This 5/8 Fibonacci, with the kind of volatility we have, we could actually slip below 335.93, test 322.96, possibly on an intraday basis, and spring back to close at or above 335.93. That maintains actually a stable, even bullish framework as we move into the third quarter. So you are buying 335.93. Your stop loss will be wherever you think it should be. I don't like to take more than a 2% loss on any particular trade against my trading account. So maybe you're stopped out below 335.93 before we then test 322.96. Or you take a lighter position, you buy 335.93, and you stop out with a settlement below 322.96, which would still represent less than 2% of your trading account. So that is entirely up to you. But what I'm struggling here to say is buying aggressively 335.93. Unless we close below 322.96, then you are selling Tesla aggressively through the rest of the second quarter into the third quarter. Over the next 2 to 3 months, I would expect 224.36 following a settlement below 322.96. This 5/8 Fibonacci from that April low of last year against the more recent December high. I'm pushing 9 minutes here. Please click like, share, subscribe. Check out wickedstocks.com. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow with Thursday's Tesla, and you have a great day.